Three, two, one. Welcome, everybody, to Geekvice, episode 238, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
We are been blessed with the presence of the chief designer and ogre of Fight in a Box. This is the man that has escaped corporate America to bring us games like Squirrel or Die and End of the Line. He has been given freedom from his chained prison in the game Forge to join us here. Please do your best to avoid eye contact to prevent any riots. Please welcome Seppy, chief designer and ogre for Fight in a Box. I love that. I just love the fact that you called yourself an ogre. So welcome, Seppy.
Yeah, in a very kind of Japanese anime ogre sort of way. That's me. Yeah, straight from the bowels of hell.
I love it.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, so well, we have a mutual friend in Prolific Games that pointed me to your Kickstarter because it's really hard to find things on Kickstarter if you don't have people pointing you in that direction. So that's what we're gonna hope we can do for you tonight as well. Is point some people to your latest Kickstarter, which is processing a game of serving humanity. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this game to start off?
Well, the best way to put it is aliens have conquered the world. They have enslaved you all. They have chained you to consoles where you only have three choices. And it is your job to vote on what happened to the rest of the survivors of the invasion. You can either choose to free them to live in the new alien utopia. You can either process them into meat, or you can probe them for science. And an extra complication is that the only cows and hipsters are left, and the aliens cannot tell the difference. This is not how I normally look. I grew this beard and got this hat so that I could be a living billboard for my Kickstarter. Let's look at that guy. This is what this guy looks like. Yeah. I'm way too old and fat and cranky to be a hipster. Yeah. Like skinny jeans chafe me in ways that I cannot even describe.
I can understand that completely. I actually today was just making fun of one of my coworkers because he was talking about he had got new pants, and I'm like, dude, those are like skinny pants. You need to get like regular pants. Those are awful. So yeah, I work with some people that are way too young for me, and I continually make fun of them. But
man, if they're too young for you, holy cow!
Well, come on, man. I am not that much younger than you. So yes, I understand I'm probably the youngest one on this podcast right now, but deal with it. I'm not that young. I'm heading into my midlife crisis.
I'm older than John and Bill, so that tells you something.
Yeah, me too.
Well, so I guess you've got this Kickstarter here going, and there's still a couple. What are we? 8 days to go as of recording this, and you have already reached your goal, which is awesome. But I mean, that's a trick in and of itself, right? I mean,
for indie game companies, there are people who love the sort of Kickstarter slot machine, and they're just waiting for it to pay out with all these stretch goals and the amazing. And then there's guys like me. I'm just happy to be here. Honestly, our fans are incredible. The people who are like, yes, I need hipster artisanal sausage. Give me this game. We were at War Machine Weekend this past weekend. It's like 3 conventions make the core of our audience. That's War Machine Weekend, Captain Con in Warwick, Rhode Island, and Con of the North. That really is like the Bermuda Triangle of what the fuck. I should probably edit it out.
No, that's
WTF.
Yeah.
What did WTF? Yeah.
That's perfect. That is awesome. So I mean, but it's kind of a good, it's kind of great that you have this bit of a kind of space in it, that this thing's getting backed now. How stressful is it putting your idea out there and just hoping that it's going to get funded? I mean, you got to feel at least a little relief. You got 8 days to go, and you're good to go.
The phrase, I think, is God created Kickstarter to test the faithful. So that is definitely how that works. I'm waiting for Shah Halud to come and whisk me away. But Kickstarter is a terrible beast, and I had to apologize to my intern Logan because he's the guy who's helping make sure that I don't completely embarrass myself on social media and all these other guys things. But I picked the absolute worst time to run a Kickstarter. Oh my! Like, there are a lot of people with bigger, better companies and bigger, better games running Kickstarters right now. And I should not be in the same arena as these people. That's number one. And number two, the election has, so much of our fandom is based off of social media, and the election has turned people off from their social media. They have just unplugged.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point, because that could really throw you for a loop there. But hey.
Oh, yeah, it was a bad call, Ripley. Bad call.
Yeah, but what could be better after post-election blues than serving hipsters to aliens?
All right, so the whole game is a game of terrible democracy, and so I have this joke that I was in the voting booth and I'm just screaming, "Probe that cow! Probe that cow! Probe that cow!" All my fans believe that I would do that. I'm getting escorted out. I think John said, "Don't think of it as you being escorted out by police, but an honor guard."
Yes.
I'm like, yeah.
I like it.
All right, so the deal is, I am really like the Ed Wood of game making. Okay, I am gonna make this Plan 9 from outer space, no matter what. And someday I want to graduate to the John Waters of game making. But these guys are not guys that my fans are amazing. I could not actually dream up a better group of fans than we have. They're phenomenal. They've gone out of their way to try to help us out, and I know stories about all the one of our fans is a guy named Chris Ross, and I carry a picture of his twins. Around with it. I mean, I know, if you go down the backer list, I know something really important about almost everybody down the list. Or at least one person who directly connect to them. Yeah, our fans are great. Our games aren't going to be made unless I'm making these games. Bob's my business partner. Wendy helps us out at conventions, and of course our intern Logan, who required me to guss up the background for the thing.
Yes.
He's like, "We're trying to sell games, Seppy. Why don't you put games back there instead of a pile of papers like you are?" Hoarder, homeless person, because this is all stacked up with just endless amounts of crap. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can see by the background of mine. I got just piles of stuff as well, so it's okay.
Oh no, those all look like nice scarves. I mean, I would want to like figure that out. I have a copy of Spammers in the background, and that's very telling. This is potentially the worst game ever created by Jeff Tidball. Do you know who Jeff Tidball is? He's the head of Atlas Games.
Yes. Well, I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
Jeff is an amazing human being, a great game designer, a better game publisher. Yeah, and he is so shamed by this. I made him sign the inside of it. It's amazing.
That is just flat out awesome right there.
You know, he's like my personal hero, and then I love the idea that your heroes are real people, and so I'm like, yeah, it's thing.
Oh, that is very good. That is very good. So I guess I kind of want to start with this processing game, and where did this idea come from? Like,
all right, do you want the old guy long story? Do you want like the short, have your listeners not tune out story? You gotta help me a little bit here, more.
I mean, honestly, we got like, another 35, 40 minutes here. You can give me as long as you want.
Don't wind up for the old guy story.
Okay, all right.
I'll try to give you the abbreviated version. And when I was an adult, I was the VP of marketing for software as a service companies. They call that SaaS. I was the Lord of SaaS. My jazz hands weren't just for the purposes of being a ridiculous human being. They were helping sell software as a service. It was not necessary. I loved what I did, but I felt a little bit like Hamburger at the end of the day. And I decided that I needed to exercise these demons. There are a lot of instances where I decide I need to make games to defend myself. And so it's 2009, and I'm like, they keep on calling marketing a cost center. And they, and HR, human resources, humans are not a resource. Humans are not cows. And then I'm like, oh, what if we make it a cost center? What if we take cows and have them process just like HR process? It seems like the same thing from my end, so let's do it. And so I decided I was going to write a game where people and cows get processed simultaneously. And oops, sometimes it gets mixed up. The original version of the game was a Rube Goldberg conveyor belt game where you had catapults and mutation rays and all these other traps going on as you were laying them down, trying to work the maze of the internal workings of the building so that the more cows and hipsters end up in the place that you wanted them to go. And that version of the game was terrible.
I'm picturing a mousetrap-like game with cows and humans. Am I picturing this correctly?
It's sort of, except for it was like the tiles had two sides, and every time they like a cow went over to a hipster. If I ever get to make an iPad game where the iPad or the computer takes care of all the mechanics of the game, like the resetting and all the motion, this is the game I will make. I will make the original version of it. But as far as a playable version, the first time through, it was, I think I even have the tiles. And let me see. This is a short, the hoarding. I made these really fancy, they're like wood and lacquer. I mean, these are the original. I don't know why these were under all the stuff after I cleaned it up. Here's an example of a catapult. Nice. So these are actually really. So I made all these tiles of the game, and it was the first round was fun, but as soon as you had to reset the board, it became awful. And so but I don't have the ability to let things go. So every couple of years since 2009, I've dug this game back up and tried to fix it. And on our blog, it talks you through all the various stops. But in short, we were having Squirrel or Die started like this.
Okay.
And now it's like, headphones fighting me. Okay. Now it looks like this. Okay, so it's this original tile game. We went convention to convention 5 years ago selling these like Girl Scout cookies, and I made 1,300 of these. And when I say I made, I mean they got put into a laser machine, and I had to scrub and package all of these. 1,300. Wow. Yeah, and so and so we were making this guy, which is the one that you can see in stores now. And the guy who's helping us out is my rep from Panda Game Manufacturing. David's a good guy. But David made the mistake of filling me with drinks and asking me about my backlog of games that I want to make. and I told him a long guy's story, and processing was in it. And he's like, I want to play that game. I'm like, I'm kind of vengeful, so I'm like, okay, so you've hurt my feelings. I'll make you play this game. So I got it back out, and then a buddy of mine, Chris Lyons from Awesome Industries, I told him what was wrong with the game, and in literally 82 seconds. I described the game and what was wrong, and he fixed the main problem with it.
That's incredible.
It was. I was like, oh, I've waited literally 9 years for you to say these 82 seconds. And then boom, what I was gonna play it as a vengeful joke for my project manager. I'm like, oh, you asked to play this big POS. Well, now you're bringing it. But it ended up being awesome. The game is really good. The reviews are really good. It's all fixed now. I'm shocked.
The game that never was supposed to be is now there.
I tell my intern Logan that I have a history of failing forward, and this is just another example. I'm just going to keep on failing until it works.
Man.
And that is exactly what happened with this game. No, but seriously, no, the game is great. Like Squirrel or Die was another one of those. Bob is my business partner, and the game is dedicated to the squirrels in his yard because he planted $200 worth of tulip bulbs in his flower bed, and they got into them, and only 7 of them ended up coming up.
Oh no!
3 of them were in his lawn, and so every Sunday he mowed over them and started swearing incredibly. And so, like after the 9th time, he told me this story, and Bob cannot tell a story. I'm like, you think my old guy's story is long? Bob's story, oh my god! After the 9th time he told me the story, I just like, I'm gonna write a game about this, and we're just going to play that instead of having to listen to your story. The original title was called Squirrels and Tulips, but one of my vegan buddies said, Seppy, that's just too gay, even for you. And I'm like, well, you fucking vegan. All right, I'll call this Squirrel or Die. How do you like that?
That's awesome.
Because I'm vengeful and I don't let things go. And yeah. Squirrel or Die ended up having, we sold 1,300 of the original. If anybody has one of those deluxe ones, we don't make those anymore. They're all really fancy handcrafted wood tiles. This is like one of the earliest versions. They're the alder ones, but they're really nice. This guy we make a special edition with every Kickstarter. This one was the post-apocalyptic themed one. So you had bullets instead of acorns and stuff like that. The latest Kickstarter has a super, super fancy, the fanciest in the history of it. It is, they're actually made out of acrylic.
Okay.
You should check them out. It is the fanciest Squirrel or Die ever conceived. It plays in 7 minutes. It is about whether or not you survive winter and score. But the card version is going into a second printing. So we made 5,000 of those to sell into distribution, and that's done really, really well.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's better than we deserve, really. Thank you, squirrels of Bob's yard, harassing the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do not have real human being coping skills. I have to make games to cope with the pain in my life. That is how I deal. End of the line is actually my husband has terrible line karma. Like, if you like get in a line with him, the person in front of him is suddenly like taking out a like let's say you're at the bank. The person ahead of you is suddenly wants to start a college fund for their grandkids with countless rolls of pennies. And this happened, and I didn't believe him. I thought it was coincidence. So, I'm a math guy. Marketing is math. And I'm like, statistically, that's just impossible. And then having like suffered through like years of this, I was like, okay, no, this is the thing, and I should respect it more. And now I'm going to write this game about how you're making me want to die a little bit.
That is, I mean, I just love that each one of your games has this very specific, like, it really is your coping mechanism. Like, these are really coping things. Like, this is amazing.
It's weird, and now you know why I get along with John and Bill so much. I'm obviously an absurd human being, number one. And number two, they all are almost literary references, too. Do you remember The Road, the movie and the book, Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah. Yes.
It's sort of like The Road, the board game. and Processing is sort of like The Jungle, the board game, and these are like really heavy, awful books that no one should ever suffer through. And I had to do that as an English major in college, and and Squirrel or Die is just like Crime and Punishment, minus the 1,400 pages between the Russian guy axing the old lady and hanging himself. Oh, sorry, that was a spoiler for Crime and Punishment, just so you know.
Oh, darn, I was going to read that right after this.
That was next one on my book reading list. Yeah.
That's right. It was like all the time Crime and Punishment, just same thing.
No, I can't read Crime and Punishment because I have a restriction. I only read books that are 22 pages or less. So if it doesn't have pictures and it comes in longer than 20 pages, there's a good chance I'm not reading it.
That's fair. That is just fair. So so that is all how all these games end up. We typically play test during playtest season every other week. We feed people burritos to make me cry. Burritos I find are like truth serum. You fill a person with a burrito, and it's like something's in the queso sauce, and they just can't help but tell you what they feel. And invariably that crushes my soul. That's how I know they're telling the truth, is that I can feel the black diamonds of hate form inside my body.
So, like, the burrito of truth sounds like something you'd find in a D&D game.
No, absolutely.
I feel like the burrito of truth is going to be the next game Seppy comes up with. Like,
I am working on a new one. It is literally like the therapy animal of games. Like, a Kickstarter really wants to crush you a little bit, and so my next game is so ridiculously upbeat and positive. It literally is like those people who bring those chihuahuas onto the plane so that they can get through, like, the flying and all that. It is literally that game. And once it's closer to being done, I'll make sure I share it with you guys so you can see exactly how ridiculously accurate this description is.
Well, good, because I could use an emotional support game.
This is an emotional support game. Like,
doesn't everybody need one of those? I mean, come on.
It's true. The sad fact is that sometimes games take me a little bit of time, like Squirrel Drive it takes to write, or End of the Line was 2010, and then we ended up kickstarting it in 2016, and then Processing was actually 2009, and now we're doing it. Yeah, so I take a long time. I'm gonna blame Bob's old guy stories, not my own.
Well, so you've got. So I guess I want to know more about your just this whole thought process with all of these all these games being completely different. Do you have a type of board game that you like creating the most, or are you just throw stuff at a wall and see what sticks?
Well, all right. So our company is Fight in a Box.
Yeah.
And that should not be confused with Hugs in a Box. That's a very different service.
Okay.
Some people go online for it. I don't want to confuse. Also, do you guys see, I got my Fight in a Box, so you can actually read it properly? Yeah, you got to be sneaky to make that shit happen. All the rest of the stuff is in reverse. We like rambunctious fun, and obviously I'm somebody who thinks laughing at your own pain makes it approachable. Yeah. And if we can all laugh at each other's pain, maybe we'll see that we are more alike than we are different.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great.
End of the line, I am ridiculously liberal. And End of the Line got picked up by the #1 prepper podcast and Twitter feed. 250,000 people. So, preppers love End of the Line. I mean, they're like, yeah. I can teach my kids the fun ways to do ammo conservation. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Yay! I'm so liberal, I've gone all the way back to the other side. That is how that works. It's a real thing. It is a real thing. Our fans come up to me, and if I'm lucky and they're actually making eye contact, normally they're like, grumble, Seppy, you took my money. But if they're in a good mood, they will make eye contact and speak. And War Machine Weekend, one of our fans came up to me and goes, Seppy, yours is the best Thanksgiving family game I have ever had the joy of owning. When I'm tired of my family, we get this out and we just murder the shit out of each other. I'm like, family's together.
Yeah, it's a family that kills together, stays together.
It's
dies
true.
Together? I don't know.
Yeah, they have no choice because they can't move.
Right.
Well, if you guys haven't got a chance to play, but there might be a way to strap a bomb vest onto a dog and send him to be friendly with other people's families.
You know what? So I told you before we started recording here, I told you that I wanted to own that game. You have now just solidified the fact that I am going to, immediately after we're done here, I'm going to get online and I'm going to purchase that game. So,
all right, I will tell you this. If people are interested in that, they should do that right away because we are out of them.
Oh,
it's out of print.
Oh man!
So there are some stores that have it, and there's some distribution. But after Christmas, it is going to be very difficult to find.
Oh man! Now I really got to get it because I would love to play a game with my kids and send a bomb vest strapped dog over to go visit the that's the kind of stuff I do to my kids.
That's what you teach them about ammo conservation. That's the way that happens.
That's right.
And also gives a new meaning to emotional support animal.
Yes. You're basically in End of the Line creating a death luge towards inevitability. It is about standing in line and all the horrible things that happen to you while you stand in line. It's pretty fun. It's 70 minutes. It's a smarter version of Take That. You plan the things that happen in the line, but everybody's plans end up bumping into each other because there's a light programming mechanic, and you end up making another Rube Goldberg Machine of Death. Obviously, Rube Goldberg is a major influence on me. He comes up in my title. cannibalism is like a major feature in all of my titles. That's if you consider vegan hipsters human. I don't know, whatever cannibalism. I think they're vegetables, whatever.
Yeah, no, they definitely can't be. You can't be a cannibal eating a vegan hipster because I mean,
seriously.
that's like eating that's like eating a some sort of vegetable.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all locally sourced and fed.
They're all organic. There's no
It's true.
chemicals. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it also helps with your glaucoma.
Right. I'm a vegetarian, so these are all these things go together. And my vegan fans, there are a number of them, are a little mad about this game, and I'm like, meat is actually murder in this game, and humans and cows are finally getting equal treatment. Isn't that what you wanted?
I did this for you, people. I did this for you.
Now, the therapy animal game is probably for them. Hopefully they'll love that one. And yeah, I'm going to make this game that's so ridiculously wholesome.
So, yeah. So you said that you came up with the idea for processing back in 2009. Was that the first game that you then came up with? And it's just the last one that's been...
No, I've been writing games for a long, long time.
Yeah?
Yeah. A long time. An Atari 1400. I wrote my first game on an Atari 1400. The Amiga competitive.
Wow.
That's how old I am.
Did you have the cassette to save things on? Or?
Yeah, no. They finally had the floppies at that point.
Okay.
The 5.5-inch floppy the floppies, and it was saved on that. Yeah, it was an alternative to Car Wars. So that's the first game I can remember trying to write. Is because Car Wars was so good, and I was like, suck it, Steve Jackson. And I'm not old at that time, and I was like, I'm gonna do this thing. And so that was a very long time ago. In high school, my buddies and I, we wrote a light miniatures game based on the Battle Beasts. You guys remember Battle Beasts?
Yeah.
Toy? Mm-hmm. We wrote one of those, and we ended up playing the shit out of that for 2 summers.
Wow.
Those were 2. That game was actually successful. I might run that as a con game. I still have all the stuff. I might run that as a con game at one of the cons, just because I would like to see if it holds up to modern audiences. It might just be a sentimental, whatever, nostalgia thing. Yeah, and let's see. My degree is in naval nuclear plumbing. I joined the Navy because I live every gay stereotype as much as possible, and I was a naval nuclear power. And after I got out of naval nuclear power, I ended up coming up to the Twin Cities to work on book publishing, and then I started a little magazine, and I ran that for a while. But the magazine taught me, like, there was this thing called the internet, and you could have a website, and people like that stuff. And so from there, the dot-com boom happened. And if you could say website, you could get a job during the dot-com era. And so I did, and I was working on one of the local biomedical super companies site. I'm not going to say for certain that I may have done the advertising campaign for Dick Cheney's pacemaker, but I'm not saying it either. And so they thought I was so valuable, they weren't going to let me go during the dot-com era. So I would walk up to them and say, hey, I don't have a lot to work on, and I need so many hours. Maybe you want to let me go work for these other... They're like, no, Seppy, you stay right here. You do whatever you want for the rest of the day. And so I started writing games again. And it was like 2000, and they're paying me a ridiculous amount of money to sit there and entertain myself, and try to keep it quiet. I was not very good at the keeping it quiet thing, but I was very good at entertaining myself. And so I wrote this 2-person combat game. It is also one of the things that we might end up like. If I ever do my own role-playing game, that might be the combat system for it. No one has ever stumbled onto this methodology yet, so I will. But I think it's great. So maybe that will end up being one of the things. So that's 2000. So 2000 again, I started to write games very seriously.
That is awesome. You have like more creativity like in your pinky than I have in my entire body. Let's just put it that way.
True. That's absolutely not true. I just have a lot of pain that I need to do something. You seem very happy. You have kids, a good life, all those things. Yeah. Oh,
I have lots of pain. I just don't know how to process it. So
I know. I grew up gay in the 80s. I mean, I have an endless rivers of pain still untouched. Yeah, no, it's
that is man, I just want to know more about all these other I want to know more about this battle system that apparently nobody has picked up on. But obviously you can't give away trade secrets. You got stuff that you want to you're going to be using, so I can't.
Oh yeah, no, it's super sneaky. It's great. The next title. All right, so for Kickstarter, we have processing. It's great. Yeah. The reason we did processing instead of end of the line. It's the expansion for the end of the line is done. It is called The Inevitable Machine Revolt. Atlas Games distributes our games.
Okay.
And they have multiple robot titles this year. So to not compete with their Kickstarter about robots and their games about robots, we postponed that and did this instead. So next year, our publishing schedule says The Inevitable Machine Revolt, which has been done since 2015, where you add robots to everybody's family.
Awesome.
So it's the whole robot apocalypse expansion. So you take the Calamity deck, and it's all robot basic calamities. It adds one new mechanic, which is the upgrade mechanic, so that you're cyberizing your whole and training your whole family. It's for advanced play. If you like End of the Line, it adds another level of dimensionality for those people who already like the game. But that was supposed to be this year, but now we're going to do it next year. But the year after that, and we started trying to figure out all the art for this because it's going to be a massive thing. It's called Conquest Princess Pew Pew Pew. Where you use fashion to overcome galactic tyranny.
As you would.
As you would. Oh, I'm so excited. This is going to be my magnum opus. I'm excited about Conquest Princess. It's got a lot of problems. I'm trying to fix it, but I've been at this one now for 4 years. So by the time it gets around, we'll be on my normal cycle for getting things done.
That is
and you need to get that guy to spend 82 seconds with you to fix the problem.
I know! I'm going to play it. All right, so if somebody, occasionally I get a chance to help other folks who are interested in making games, publishing games, and whatever it is. And I think that is super duper 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 rewarding.
Yeah.
All self-deprecation aside, if any of my pain I can transmute so somebody else does not have to live it, I think that is a good use of my time on the planet. So they ask, Seppy, so how do you make these things happen? So like I said, I was in the service, and I have this thing where people tell me to go do something, and I just go and do it.
That's profound.
No,
do you say yes, sir, and then go do it, or
I just go do it? And I'm a marketing guy by trade and a math guy by trade. I will evaluate the thing after it's done. So there's a lot of amazing people who make games in the Twin Cities. Jeff Tibble's on that list. Obviously, Leader Games is here. Chip Theory Games is here. FFG is here. Z-Man is here. Great Northern Games is here. Prolific is here. They would kill me if I did not mention them.
I was waiting.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I mean,
You're waiting for
I was
it.
waiting to see if you said anything. If you didn't, I was just gonna let it slide and then immediately email Bill while we're still recording, like, hey, you really should be listening to this because Seppy just, didn't even throw you out as one of the great ones. I mean, okay.
Floodgate is here. There's a lot of, and so there are a lot of people who have lots of good advice, and and you like look at the people, you look at their success, you're like, okay, I trust you. I'm just gonna go do this thing you tell me to go do. Like, the number one reason we even have a company is because of John and Bill. John and Bill, like, I was like, hey, I kickstarted End of the Line, John and Bill. Now I have like 1,200 copies sitting in my garage. You got any advice for me? And they're like, yeah, why don't you go to talk to Games by James? And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, I'll introduce you. And they did. And I went to those guys. They bought a whole bunch of copies of the game, and then they bought a whole bunch more. And then I ended up making a little business case out of its success, and that was able to then take it to ACD Games Day. I snuck in. I'm doing a lot of sneaking during this. You're not seeing I'm like a ninja swan. You do not see all of the ninjaing underneath the water that I'm doing, but I ended up taking it to ACD Game Days and told them how successful it was, and that, it's a very big regional success. And I told them of the triangle of WTF, and then they're like, hey, yeah, we would love to buy this game from you, but not you. Find somebody we actually like, and we'll buy the game from them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys like Atlas? They make Gloom. Atlas, they don't cover their drinks well. I could slip some roofies in there. That'd be fine. That's not funny post Cosby. I should not even say that. That is not appropriate behavior post Cosby. But they said, hey, no, we would definitely rep your game for them. We like you and see how hard you try. And I'm like, trying? Yes, I do a lot of trying. And so that's how it ended up happening.
That is awesome. That is just incredible. So what is the deal with the Twin Cities up there and having so many different, like, why do board games just companies like appear out of nowhere up there? Like, what's the deal?
Is it because of winter?
So everybody spends so much time inside, they can't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, winter is definitely a thing. I mean, yeah. So like, people make games in Seattle. People make games here. People make games sort of in the Boston area. Yeah, that's where people make games. Between here and Madison. Yeah.
That's just...
Yeah, I know. It's an obnoxiously large number. Those four play, us and Madison are sort of one unit. If you take, that's pretty much where games are made. It's kind of weird.
It really is. I was kind of shocked when I started looking up, like, because I assumed you were in the Minneapolis area just because of John and Bill, and so like I started doing more, like, looking into it. I'm like, holy crap, there's like everything's up there. Like, I think pretty much every game I own comes from that area, and that's just weird.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that comes there. We have a weirdly large percentage of people who buy our games at conventions and back our Kickstarter who are other, like, gaming professionals. We are sort of like the sheltered pit bull rescue animal of game companies.
Oh, man.
It really is sort of the case. They're like, this guy is really trying hard. I mean, I'm sneaking into people's hotel rooms in the closet with, just not trying to make too much noise so I can sleep there for a couple of minutes. Like that. homeless game creating person. Yeah, that is sort of the. Yeah, they're like, he tried so hard.
That is kind of the best line there. Yeah, you try really hard. We'll rep your game. You try. Way to go. Thumbs up for you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Is
that's
it that, or is it if we do it, will you go away? Which one is
You know, now that you said that, now I got to re-examine everything. Thanks for that.
Hey, that's what I do, is ruin people's day.
No, that's, I will look unflinchingly into the math and see if that is actually. You have to be correct, at least in 2 or 3 of those instances.
Plus, I was thinking earlier we were talking about why does all these games and stuff come from, Madison and Minneapolis, those kind of places, and it made me think maybe that's why we think Santa Claus is in the North Pole, because the weather is similar and all the toys come down from up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not just a hat rack over there.
Yeah, it's not just. All right, so speaking of toys coming from the north, do you know what was the first page in the Essen catalog this year for Essen?
No.
Nope.
It shames me to admit, but my dad was correct. I should have gotten an engineering degree instead of going to school for English, because the #1 game from Essen is this like Jack in the Box toilet shooting game. This poo flinging. Have you seen this game?
No.
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
So all right, so it's a toilet that's about this big, right? And it has a little handle that when you flush it, a die rolls out of the side of the toilet. And the die is a 3-sided die. 1, 2, or 3 ends up rolling. Well, that's the number of times that you must plunge this toilet before it's the next player's turn. Okay? Every plunge of the toilet, there's a chance that a 6-inch, like, Mr. Hanky Poo will go flying straight up 3 to 5 feet in the air. And you must snatch it out of the air. And if you snatch it out of the air, you get 2 points. But if you knock it on the floor and you have to chase it down, you only get 1. This game is horrible, but I have not laughed this genuinely and this honestly in years. Holy shit, this game is ridiculous. You gotta track this guy down.
Does it come with a bottle of whiskey? Because that's what you would need to play.
I would worry about the bottle of whiskey because people will hurt themselves if they get drunk and play this game. Adult men scrumming it up over a Mr. Hanky 6-inch poo.
There's just no words for this.
No, seriously. I was like, fuck those German people, and God, this game's gonna. And I was completely wrong. I was like, oh my God, this game is. Oh my God, yeah. No, seriously, just go find this game. It was like $17.50 on Amazon. Go find this game.
That should be my white elephant gift at my parents' house this year.
Only if you play it. Yeah, people will be afraid. Just get them to play it once, just 1 round, and you will immediately unlock what is the magic of this game. Try it out, seriously, just 1 round. You gotta, as soon as Mr. Hanky goes flying up in the air, and adults try, you'll realize that you have unlocked some sort of magic.
Oh, yeah.
Magic is a word for it, I guess.
All those, that decade of suffering. What the fuck am I doing? Holy shit!
Yeah.
The hanky poop.
Well, I'm a little upset that you didn't come up with that first. I mean, come on.
Oh no, my gosh! I think the quote is I forgot who said it. I want to attribute to somebody much smarter than myself, but somebody said, "I never understood the Holocaust until I saw a German toilet." If you've ever been to Germany and in a German person's house, you will realize what I am saying. If you have not, oh my God, Germans have a very different relationship with this stuff than the rest of us. Don't.
I don't want to know. I just don't.
Seriously, there are no words. There are no words for this.
Oh my!
And I'm not Googling German toilet.
Don't do it.
Sounds like something that's gonna get me arrested.
Well, your browser history will never recover. You will be on so many watch lists. Yeah, just don't do it.
Yeah,
But
no.
still, this game is incredible and it is insane.
Oh my goodness.
Insane.
Okay. It's insane. Just once, one round, and you'll realize what I'm saying. Because I was such a naysayer. This is my penance. The thing is, people play what they want. People play the games that they want, and so forth and whatnot. And my games are slightly more elevated than that. But really, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's the most humbling gaming experience I've had in a long time. I'm like, holy crap. Oh my God.
Literally.
Somebody made this. Yeah, like somebody made this. What have I been doing with my life? What are these like high concept, weird sci-fi referencing? Oh my God. Why do you not? Yeah.
It always seems to come back to a poop joke. I mean, it just really does.
It really was. I felt so bad about it. I was like, why do you like this? What's wrong with you?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's bring it back
doesn't know where to go.
I am completely like dumbfounded and lost on
You
here.
will have to go find this, and once you find it, you will realize what I'm talking about. I want you to report back in future episodes.
What's it called again?
Oh, I will find the name and email it to you. A buddy of mine brought it to one of the game nights, and I will find it. Yeah. I will find the name, so you don't have to like stain your internet browser history with this skid mark of a game.
Well, I'm Googling Essen just to be safe.
Yeah, Essen. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. All right.
I ruined your for all time. All right. Let's get to a non.
We will find that one.
You'll realize exactly that you heard about it first from John and Bill.
Yes.
Blame it on John and Bill, whatever the situation is.
And that is exactly what we will do, because that's what we do here. We blame everything on Prolific Games. I mean,
yes.
I mean,
we can't blame each other. We blame them.
Especially, especially the podcast that we had with them that they just kind of decided they were too busy for and left us. So, we had, if you go to our YouTube channel, there's a playlist in there that is, what was it called? Geekfecta, that's what it was, where we talked about our top 3 like favorite and least favorite things within a certain topic. And
nice.
So it was, and it usually at one point it started out with there was 4 of us on there, and then it slowly kind of like dwindled down, and I think at one point it was just like me and Bill doing it. And but it was still really, like, I found it really entertaining because Bill is an entertaining guy to talk to. But then they just got so busy with everything else, and Bill going back to school because he's smart, and
and the babies, and continually make so many babies.
Yes. Well, and John and his softball, I'm pretty sure plays like. He does more stuff with softball than I have ever seen. Like, hey, more power to him. I don't know how he has time to do everything, but that's those guys. They're crazy. But anyway, back to this Kickstarter, because we want everyone to go check out this Kickstarter. There will be a link in our show notes on the YouTube channel. There will also be links in our the show notes for the podcast, so you can go there. Don't Google Kickstarter processing, because it will come up with the fees for Kickstarter for processing the games. That doesn't work. Go to the actual Kickstarter page and then search for processing. It will show up.
Yes. Or if you put the full title, it will also show up.
Yes.
If you put processing : a game of serving humanity.
Remember the colon. It is very important.
If you put the colon in there, suddenly it figures itself out. Right. Processing : a game, and then boom. Yeah. You'll find it. That was another terrible choice by me. Let us revel in the bad choices. But it was just so apropos, and I love the wordplay. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Oh no, it was.
I paid for this degree. I want to use it.
So you're just under the first stretch goal of 14K.
Yes,
So
get some meeples in the box. That one's called "Get Out the Wood."
Yes, it is.
Yes,
of course it is.
All the stretch goals have names. All the backer levels have, we try to go that extra mile. Come on.
Oh, it is great.
Get out the wood.
It is great. It is absolutely great. I will be going after this show and going and backing this thing because it just looks so awesome and so much fun. So
oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
You want a backer right here because this is it looks like a lot of fun to play, and I mean,
yay, jazz hands!
So yeah, go check out our show notes and you can get that stuff there. If you want to find out more stuff from Seppy and Fight in a Box, you got a Facebook page, right?
Facebook,
you got
all that stuff goes to me. Yeah, that's a good idea.
A website, which is fightintheBox.com. There will be links to that in all of our stuff. All our links are everywhere. We have put links everywhere. Twitter, you got Fight in a Box on Twitter.
Logan, thank you, Logan. That's my intern.
Is there anywhere else?
Did you have an intern?
Yeah.
Yeah, Logan. That's the one that my flavor of running these marketing practices for these companies was all about building talent and paying people a livable wage, and the more the skills they acquire, the more you pay them. Like unheard of crazy stuff. But no, running internship programs. Yeah, I had a lot of experience with that. I had a lot of interns survive and not survive my programs.
That is awesome.
But Logan seems to be doing okay. I do occasionally threaten him to shoot him with a shotgun and send him back to the cloning vats because he's not quite ready to be a human being. I might threaten him with that on a regular basis.
He wouldn't be an intern if you didn't threaten him. I mean, come on.
I know, it's so bad.
Oh, that is great. That is great.
I'm like, I'm gonna teach you to talk to old shits like me and then like it.
Oh, right. So Facebook, your website, Twitter, anywhere else these people can find more stuff about you? Instagram. What's your Instagram?
I think it's Fight in a Box.
Fight in a Box. All right.
Yeah, see all our images and stuff. Yeah. So it's those three. Yeah. Any of those things, Twitter and Facebook, Logan and I tag out on. He is almost entirely responsible for our Instagram. Our Twitter is pretty much a conversation between 6 awesome people. Scott Ferguson, the Brush Wizard, Dan the Lonely Havoc, Logan, and then one of our fans, Rick, and another one of our fans, Edward, who's also an independent filmmaker. They're Greggles. They're all constantly saying nice things, and that's basically if you just want to sit in on a nerd conversation about how hipsters should be turned into meat, then that's what our Twitter feed is like.
That is awesome.
I know it's posted hipster recipes yet. I've been waiting for somebody to get creative, but that'll probably happen.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
I hope so.
Yeah,
that guy over there is pretty creative too. There's a good chance that the Kip over there will come up with something because.
Oh, I thought somebody was standing behind me there.
Oh, the long pig.
Yeah.
We will be at Gamehole Con this weekend, so that is the thing. So yes, if people are interested in that's in Madison.
Okay, Gamehole Con. That just
Gamehole Con.
That sounds like a dirty
before
reference.
The weather turns.
Yeah, not as gay as it sounds.
Well, that's debatable. So, all right. Well, You know what, Seppy? Thank you so much for coming on here. This has been a blast.
Absolutely.
And
Really?
yes.
I feel like I just like talked at you guys, and you guys suffered through my old guy's storiness as I.
Oh
rambled
no,
on
this was
bullshit.
awesome. This was a lot of fun, and I look forward to getting this game one, and I want to have you back on when you've got your next one too. So you're gonna join our list of guests, and we're gonna keep having you back on.
I would love if you guys have anything on with John and Bill. I love those guys. We kind of create a spectacle when we're in proximity of each other.
I can only imagine.
In all the best ways. So please, if you're like, oh my God, those guys are doing things. Let's see what happens if we throw a little Seppy in the mix.
Oh, jeez. That'll be a good
We
one.
could do that and then just walk away, and you guys would just talk for now, and then we'll come back.
We can just hit I'll just hit record, and then I'll just sit back and go, yep, this is comedy gold.
I love those guys so much. And honestly, going back to that original, go do that thing. I just went and did that thing. All the things that they tell me to go do, I regularly, and those guys they've been so good to us. The funny thing is, I started playtesting End of the Line the exact same time Flapjacks has started out, and then I only kickstarted it, 6 years later. And so I've been sort of in and around those guys. They've been growing up as a company the entire time, and they've been super good to us. They are so good.
They are really good dudes. I like those guys. So
yeah, but you got to be on your toes, because you never know if they're just jacking with you.
Yeah, I said they were good guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also highly recommend for you and your listeners, Protospiel Madison and Protospiel Minnesota, $10 the whole weekend to sit as a playtester for all the people who make games here in the Twin Cities or in Madison or both.
Wow, It
is great.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Great. Yeah, it was 167 people last year. Over 30 had been published in the last 12 months.
Wow.
That is a lot of people who've made games in one room.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, seriously, I would highly recommend it. It's run by Jeff King and Matt Gordon. And so, yeah, they do a great job. The companion con, of course, is Madison's, which is coming up. The Game Crafters guys, JT and all those guys, they run a good show too. There's a lot of reciprocity between those two. I'd highly recommend that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Seppy, for coming on. It's been a blast. I'm
sorry about the awkward stuff about toy-based games out of Germany.
No.
I am still searching for it.
I will find it for you. I will find the exact name and send you a link.
There you go. As soon as we get it, it'll get posted on our Facebook page of, hey, everybody, this is what Seppy was talking about. Go check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a podcast of us playing it, I think.
Oh, my God. Yes. Like, on Amazon, it was $17.50 last time I checked. For $17.50, this is just a thing that happens on its own. You should definitely, if adults are playing it, warn them that the chance of injury is higher than you think.
Yes, it is. Oh, that is great.
All right, thank you so much. I hope I was not the worst guest ever.
No, by far not the worst. Let's put it that way. There is no way. This was way too much fun.
I don't know.
You'd have to be a really bad guest to be worse than the host. So
there's a reason why we get entertaining people to come on the show with us, because we're really not that entertaining, just the two of us.
I don't know. I watched the last episode. You guys are fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Oh,
flannel pants. You're fine.
You're fine.
I can't take you outside, but you're comfortable.
Yeah, I try to explain like how Minnesotans use words that are different than everybody else. Like the word interesting. If anybody who lives in Minnesota tells you something is interesting, you should just run. How was your weekend? Interesting. Okay, then. I will leave you with that. I will let you go. It is fine is another one of those phrases that they like to use. It doesn't mean what that actually means. Yeah, all those things. But these are all stuff. No, thank you so much. I super duper appreciate it. Our little indie company needs as much help as it can get, and hopefully, when you get the game, you only ask for a part of your money back.
You know what? That'll be my first email to you after I get the game. We'll be like, hey, you know what? This was great and all, but anyway, I could get a little kickback here.
But there was no flying poo, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This was not flying poo. I know there's a lot of thought involved, and you know what we think about thinking.
It just hurt my head. Oh, man. All right. Well, on that one, we'll cue the music. Thanks, everybody. You know where you can find our stuff. And, of course, you can email us at geekvice@gmail.com. But watch our Facebook page. We will get you more stuff from Fight in a Box and help their Kickstarter. So thanks again, Seppy, and we'll talk at you later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.